Hello everyone, Crazy Canuck here again. This video is going to take a slightly different tone. This channel is dedicated to growing food and sustainability and anything else that's related to the grand solar minimum or self-sufficiency in general. Now, when people think about self-sufficiency and growing food, the first thing they think about is gardens. So you can have a garden. Especially if you live out of town, you can have a really large garden. You can grow whatever you want. In town, you're kind of restricted to space. But when you have a nice garden, such as this one or this one, maybe even one like this, you have the susceptibility to weather. And your garden, your food for the year, can be taken out in minutes. Here's somebody who actually had some foresight and saved some of his garden. But hail can destroy just about anything. So, what are some solutions? Well, you can have a greenhouse. Those of us in the northern latitudes are very familiar with greenhouses for growing bedding plants before transplant or extending the season. You can have a small backyard greenhouse. You can have a larger style greenhouse. Even up to a commercial greenhouse. But is that the real answer? In a lot of cases it is. Until you get a storm. And even then your greenhouses are susceptible to damage. And we've had reports from all over the world the last few years of greenhouses being totally destroyed. Still a good idea. If you watch the construction and build them sturdy, I don't think hoop houses are going to last. One wind, down they go. As you can see here, they're not very strong when it comes to storm, snow load, wind, whatever you throw at them. So they have to be strong. Same with housing. Housing is another area where I see a lot, especially now, with the story about the California fires and all the people's homes that were burned, and they're waiting to get back and rebuild. Well, the problem with rebuilding is almost all of them will rebuild exactly the same style of house that they lost. My question is, why would you want to do the same thing that you lost in the first place? I've been researching different building methods for years. One of the ones that I kind of move towards is a concrete dome. Now you can have a nice simple one like this, or the one in the bottom picture, a little more elaborate. But when you're talking concrete domes, you're talking something that is hail-proof, wind-proof, flood-proof, bug-proof, hurricanes, tornadoes. They can take just about anything that you can throw at them. And you can even have a home right in the middle of a fire and be okay. Concrete doesn't burn, doesn't rot, and is extremely strong. So now, how do you incorporate everything you need in a self-sufficiency scenario? If you have a concrete house, that's great, you're protected, but your greenhouse isn't. Now, one thing I was thinking of is something in the style of an earth ship. Not an earth ship per se, but think of it as a concrete dome built into the side of a hill, and on the front of your dome is where you have your greenhouse, such as this one. You can have systems set up so that if there's a storm coming, you can either put panels over the glass, or you can drop some kind of a shield, expanded metal mesh, bamboo curtain. There's a lot of different things that you could probably think of that you can drop over temporarily to save it from a hailstorm or tornado or whatever you have, and then you just roll it up, take it off, do whatever you got to do, and it's back in business. One thing I cannot figure out is why, in case of, say, a flood, they wait for the water to go down and build a house in the same spot. I would build one a little higher up for one thing. And I see that happen every year when there's flooding. There's a lot of different ideas out there. You build them strong, they will survive. All it takes is a little bit of imagination, check a few building codes, talk to some contractors. ICFs are also a good way to go. Insulated concrete form. And I'll just look that up real quick. This is a building method that I became familiar with probably 15 years ago. They are building a lot of basements now where they pour a footing, then they use the ICF, insulated concrete form, to build the walls, and then they're filled with concrete. It makes one of the strongest wall systems that I have ever seen. It has R value for insulation, it has concrete for strength. It's just an excellent system, and you can build an entire house out of these. There are all kinds of different systems out there incorporating the exact same type of system. So if you don't want to go with a concrete dome, this would be a good second option. As you can see here, you have a wall that you pour concrete in the middle, which gives you all your strength. You can apply whatever material you want on the outside, and it looks exactly like your traditional home, except that it's a lot more storm-proof. So that's just a few ideas that I'm throwing out there. There are ways you can grow indoors. I just wanted to touch on a few things after watching the California fire footage, and have been doing research for decades on different building systems, and also being a contractor myself involved in home building. These are things that I have always looked at, and if I build from scratch, it will be incorporating a few of these different design ideas, among other things. But that's it for this video for now, and my next few videos will probably be back into growing again, and different ideas that I've got set up, and I hope you found this of value. One other thing I'd like to mention is, when it comes to preparedness, the best resource I have seen in the last couple of years is Anita Bailey's book, Cold Times. I read that book and it is amazing. It's so full of excellent information. I'll leave a link in the video description to get that book. I also will leave a few links that I've put in my last video in the description for a few plant-related materials. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you like, and we'll talk about this and other things, and we'll talk to you later. This is the Crazy Canuck, out for now.